MP for Tamale Central, who happens to be my kid brother as well.
I think this is the up 10th time or 10th time you are saying this.
I want to congratulate him on his re-election as the candidate.
Not here. Yeah, okay, no, he's not here. Please go ahead.
I want to congratulate him on his re-election to lead his party in the constituency for the second time. Thank you. I know he means well. I've known him for a very long time in our students' days, where I think that he's one of the most honest young persons that you can come across. And when he decided to support my bid to become NUC's president, at a time others did not feel the need to do so, he stood by certain principles, and for which I continue to admire him. I wish him well in his political climb. I hope that one day he will reach the luminous summit. Let me state without any fear of contradiction that this is one of the most bogus policies that anyone will intend to introduce and probably attempt to rationalize. The only motivation in this is that in procuring laptops and feeding them with content, somehow, as we call it, there will be some core items. And these core items or coefficients will be beneficial in an election campaign period. And that would be the major motivation and nothing else. This is not the first time this policy is being introduced or suggested. You recall when, what's the name of this man who was the MP that was defeated by Sammy Nkrumah? The NDC MP. He later became Minister for Education. Oh, this fine gentleman. Yeah, I think he's passed on though. But he attempted to introduce education. He attempted to introduce what was then known as the one student, one laptop. And I was on crusade with the All African Students Union because I had by then gone around the country with Charles Abbey. And we got to certain parts, particularly within the Sisata lands. And it was Charles Abbey who asked me whether these people actually vote. And I asked why. He said, the level of deprivation, the deplorable state of the communities, they should not have an MP. And I said, well, they have MPs. In fact, the Sisata land has 2 MPs at a time. And it was at that point I asked him whether he thought that the policy by government to implement the one laptop per child was a worthy thing, because the level of deprivation and denial in these communities will tell you that if you bring the concept of one laptop per child, it will not work, because there's no electricity. The opportunities for learning is not the same. ICT survey teachers must also be trained and well distributed. And we thought it was a joke, and I think it was Joy FM at that time who went to a school.
The minister was
Lee Okran, who went to a school. Thank you, Mr. Who went to a school where somebody was defining ICT as information, something, remember. And it was evident that those who want to formulate policies are so urban rigid in their minds to the exclusion of the greater rural population. And that, when you do, you bring policies and only ensure that urban population benefits from.
You are referring to Lee Okran.
Lee Okran,
yes,
I'm grateful.
Thank you, Timothy Sanae.
Thank you. So it's obvious to me that it appears we have not learned. The Lee Okran policy did not work. What are the factors that made it impossible? You should go and take a look at it. And I remember at that time, I was very Bitter, because if Murtala, you know where I come from. When my communities, they don't even have proper lights. They don't even have roads to go to school. I mean, access to education is non-existent. And somebody, because you have to get 10% or a cut, because you have to go and get some people to supply laptops. And this thing has been repeated. Recall recently, when teachers were complaining about the absence of textbooks and curricula, the same vice president went ahead to say that they are going to give teachers laptops. And I asked, when you finish giving the teacher the laptop and there are no textbooks to accompany, what is the teacher going to do with the laptop? Today, you want to send it to the pupils. I guess the vice president comes from a rural community as well. And he should understand the dynamics.
How does it matter? The world is moving on.
The world is moving on. You must move at your pace.
What do you mean?
Look, you just don't jump and go and start by counting 10 when you have not started 1.
How is that realistic? When the world is moving on, the vice president is preferring a solution that will take us there. Immaterial of whether we have
electricity.
Textbooks or not.
You want to sell your electricity company of Ghana as usual to a private entity?
What do you mean by that? How's that related to this?
You are not able to provide electricity to communities across the country. And you know that laptops are sustained by electricity.
They're sustained by batteries.
They are sustained by electricity.
They are charged.
Yes, but how are you going to charge them? So you go and take a laptop from say, Sometigu and move to Sankana to come and charge, or from Nyimbali and move and come and charge. And then take it back. Or when you close from school, you have to trek about 12 kilometers to go and put it on charge. When it is charged, you go and take it 12 kilometers back and go and use for how many hours and take it back. Those are the basics. How many teachers do you have that are proficient in ICT delivery?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, Roland, can you go and teach ICT? So you need teachers that are proficient in the subject, such that they will be able to use the gadgets that you are bringing them. It is not the buga way we learned computer, that you want to use that buga way to say that because somebody is able to turn on a computer and operate A wahi, B wahi, means that the person can go and teach. We learn computer on the blackboard. You know that. They draw the computer, they draw the keyboard.
Still do, actually.
And then they teach you. Today, we are struggling. And if you listen to Asari, we in the university, we used to call him Bobdo.
Oh, you went to university together?
Yes. So if you listen...
Kofi
Asari. If you listen to him, it's obvious that there is much more to be done. And I don't know why the government is running away from its field policies. You introduce a new curriculum, 3 years or 4 years down the line, only textbooks, 3 subject areas have been provided textbooks. 7 subject areas don't have textbooks.
You mean the textbooks to the schools?
Yes.
Because the textbooks are on the market.
The textbooks to the schools.
But you're talking about the government-approved textbook for the public schools.
For the public schools. Only 3 subjects are available. 7 subjects, 4 years down the line, you have failed. The vice president should put enormous energy so that the ministry can deliver on the other 7 subjects to the pupils, particularly those who come from the kind of background I come from. To come and tell us that we are bringing 1 laptop, I want to think that it is an opportunity to get a company to supply. Some cut is given back, and then some people get money to go. A
policy that already hasn't taken off, and you're
I am telling you that go and start from Leo Okran and come to this date. How many times have we not talked about this policy? And I'm asking, why did it fail at the time? Because the factors that made sure that it failed are the same factors that are here today. You give us the basics. Get us what we need to start with. And as we inch to the level that rural communities are coming at par, I went to secondary school in Laura Secondary School. And I went to secondary school in Tamale as well, because I did O-levels and A-levels. But I did my rural education in Kaleo.
But those were years ago.
I'm saying, when you do English lexicons and structures and they go and bring a topic, they don't determine whether you come from a rural background or not. You are expected to do well as the urban person who has seen an airport and understand aviation. I sit in Sankara and all I know is how to do yam molds. And they don't ask questions about that.
We've moved on from then.
Cannot, that is what is still prevailing. Maybe one day I should carry you to my community because I just came back from that place.
I'm a journalist who's well versed in things of
No,
the
you have
country.
not been to Sankana. So you are not versed in the issues of Sankana. Neither have you been to Gudairi. You are not versed to the issues.
I don't have to be present in Sankana to know the peculiar issues.
You should come around. And I'm just telling you that, look, yeah, on paper, it looks sumptuous. But in reality, I think that our vice president should know much better, appreciate the difficulties within the education system, the rigidities particularly between rural and urban communities, and let's see how we'll be able to bridge that gap before we can go and bring in policies that, in my opinion, are only phantom and cannot lead to any improvement in our educational system as it is.